No, I did not want to start the broadcast. Hold on.
Hi, Brad.
Okay, can you see me? Or see the
I can't see you.
You can't see me.
No, I can't see. I can see the whole wide webinar, but I can't see you.
Okay, you see the screen?
I see the screen.
Okay, and let's see, that's Brad talking. 7?
Yes.
Hi, 7.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm talking through the computer. Should I call back later and then call in through the... This is talking through the computer. Is this okay, or do you want me to call on my phone?
The phone is better because you don't have all of the background noise.
Okay.
Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you fine.
All right.
Okay, so let's wait for Brad, just hang up and then call back on your
Okay.
phone.
I
Just
got
log
it.
back in and we'll wait for you.
Okie dokie.
Okay. And 7, can you send me a message on the chat just so I can make sure and just make sure it says organizers and panelists only? And then let me know if you could see mine, just in case. You may never use it, but it's fine. And there you go. Okay.
There you go.
So this will be our way to communicate so that they can't see us talking to each other if we need to. Or if you have a question when either Brad is presenting, or if you have a question and you're not able I'm not able to respond to you, I'll respond that way, okay?
Sure. Okay.
I'm on.
And hi, Brad.
Hello.
Hello. So it will always stay with the presentation will be controlled by me. Brad, if you
Right.
can just go ahead and undock your chat box and just send me a message and let me know if you could see the message that I sent to all organizers and panelists.
Yeah, this says organizers and panelists.
You see that I said, yeah, there you go. Okay. It seems like we are all good to go. The only thing first, do either of you have a question for me?
No.
Nope.
Okay,
Good to
you're
go.
all ready? You have your notes and everything in front of you?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is just to mute your phone lines. Okay, that way, just in case, because people start logging on probably about 6:50, usually 6:45, 6:50. So even though I'm not asking you to log back on or to actually unmute yourself until 6:50, let's see. 6:50, you'll still stay muted, but just make sure to join back. I will send you a chat message at 6:50 to see if you're on the line, just in case we have participants. I don't want them to hear that I'm asking you if you're on the line, okay?
Okay.
And let's see, if you need to contact me for any reason, because I'm not going back and forth looking at my email, if you do need to you know what, I can't actually see my email. Hold on. I have my laptop plugged up also, so if an email does come through, I'll be able to see it. But if you want to just send me a text message, you can do that too. Let me give you both my phone number.
415-0150.
Got it.
I got it.
Okay. So if you're having any challenges with the chat box and you need to send me a message regarding that, just send me a text. I'll have my phone near me because I usually keep it up to keep me right on time. So,
Okay.
and make sure you have your phone or something else next to you so that you can keep track of your time. That if you feel that you are talking too fast, you can slow down because you'll see how much time you have left. Because again, we should be going all the way through. At least we shouldn't be ending this until, let's say, 7:45, 7:50, with at least 10 to 15 minutes of questioning. I usually say 10 minutes of questioning so we can go until 7:50. I'm the last presenter to speak, but if you notice that you're halfway through and it's only 7:10, you're definitely talking too fast.
Right. So I just figured, I'll set my timer for 20 minutes and then I'll sort of watch it. And then I just, as I said, last time I didn't set a timer, I just sort of went and everything went fine. So, but I can set a timer and just sort of glance at it, and I'll just slow down and, pace myself. You know,
Okay.
hopefully not
And
go
that's-
too
and-
long.
No, and I'm sure you'll be fine. If you are setting a timer, just make sure that we can't hear it when it goes off and you're talking
Right.
because it is being recorded. I just have my phone sitting in front of me. Now, I will take up probably about 3 to 4 minutes in the beginning just going over the toolbar.
Okay.
And then again, I'll come in at the very end. But other than that, we're good to go.
Perfect. I'm just going to leave everything open and put it on mute.
Okay, and 7, you do the same. And if you guys have any questions before then, again, just go ahead and send me a chat message or send me a text, okay?
You got it.
Got it.
Okay, basically touch base with you all again at 6:50.
Perfect. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye. Or I'll see you in a minute. Don't hang up. Okay. 7, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see if Brad's, well, he's not there yet. I need to have him make sure he puts us on mute and not hold. Even though it's nice music. I can mute him, but then when he goes back on, I don't want to catch that. Yeah, I don't want it on the recording session, so I'll talk to him when he gets on. Let's see. Brad, are you there? Oh, not yet. Okay, I'm gonna mute him for a second. I'm gonna put it live at 7. Sometimes I started a little bit before, but this way Chris will not need to edit it at with 5 minutes remaining in the session, because there'll be a lot of quiet in the beginning. So I want to make sure that we don't have that. Let's see if he's there. Oh. So you're all good? Are you all by yourself down there?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I was worried because ladies were vacuuming here, and they just left. So I was like, oh, perfect.
Oh, my gosh. Did you see Ray yet? I told Ray that you were downstairs, but I don't think there's a door or anything that he locks down there.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen him, though.
You haven't seen him yet? Maybe you should,
like... He walk around about 7.
Oh, yeah, he does walk around and then kind of close the doors and everything, so he'll see you when he's in there. If not, you have my cell phone number. You can say, Myra, I'm locked out. Let's see if Brad is there. Hold on. Brad, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, Brad. So 7 and I are on the line. I just want to remind you about something. So when you're off the line, just remember to mute your phone and not put it on hold, because we heard the music.
Okay.
It was nice music, though.
Oh, goody.
It was really nice music. So I am about to mute both of you in just a moment, but please stay on the line because we will get started, and I'll start right at 7 o'clock this time.
Perfect.
Okay? Okay. If you need me
it.
for anything, just remember to send a message in the chat.
I see it. Chat's open.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and mute you now.
Okay, doke.
Okay. Okay, guys, you can get ready to unmute yourself. I will mute you from my end so that they won't be able to hear you. That way you don't forget to unmute yourself when you're about to talk. Okay? Hello? 7, Brad, just make sure you unmute. You can do that now. Hello? 7? Oh, sorry, I muted you.
There we go.
Can you hear me? There you go.
Yes, I was just going to send you like, you have me muted. I'm not muted. You have me muted.
Okay, I'm going to mute
me.
you both. No, it's okay. I'm going to mute you both now. Sorry. I'll mute you now. I'm about to start. Okay.
Got it.
Welcome to the Home Buying Webinar. Today is Wednesday, March 20th, and the presentation is scheduled to end at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tonight, I will be joined by 2 wonderful presenters whom I will introduce to you all shortly. I am waiting. I'm watching people log in. My name is Myra Kasuk, and I am the Financial Education Coordinator here at the Credit Union. The duration of this webinar is scheduled to go for 1 hour and is being recorded. At times, a presenter might ask a question, which can be answered by raising your hand. I see a few people have raised their hand already. Go ahead, if you know where the hand icon is, go ahead and click on it at this time. If this is your first time attending a webinar, please allow me to take a moment. I'm going to go ahead and go over the GoToWebinar toolbar, and this is the toolbar that was launched when you joined the presentation. So next to your name, you should see a series of icons, one resembling a hand. Go ahead and click on that for me at this moment. Perfect. Okay. Great, great. So that lets me know that all of you can hear me. This is how you will raise your hand when a presenter requires you to participate. To lower your hand, you would simply click the icon again, or I can go ahead and lower your hand for you. Another area that you will find useful is the question pane. If you have a question, simply type in the body of the your question into that pane. Or if you're using a mobile device, you can simply click on the question mark and type in your question as if you were sending a text. In the essence of time, all questions will be addressed at the end of tonight's webinar, because I know that many of your concerns might be answered within the presentation itself. But because your questions are all important to us, feel free to jot them down during the presentation so you do not forget, in the event that it's not something that was addressed in the presentation. Tonight's agenda will focus on making the decision to buy, and this will cover the pros and cons of renting as well as making a purchase, selecting an agent. It should be someone, again, that you can talk to and has a concern for what you are looking for in your well-being, looking for a home. Ask yourself, do you want to be in walking distance of your favorite places, or do you prefer to live in solitude? We will also talk about our Home Advantage real estate program, the purchasing process, and the financing and loan options that are available. Tonight is going to be packed full of valuable information, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. Our first presenter is from Real Estate Group and has been in the business for 3 decades. His name is Brad Korb, and at this time, I'm going to go ahead and present the floor to Brad. Brad, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. And happy Wednesday, everyone, and happy first day of spring. Thank you for all joining, and hope that myself and Seven, who's presenting with me, will give you some great useful information. As Laura said, please hold all the questions to the end, but we're excited that you're here to spend a little bit of time with us this evening. Just a little bit about myself before we get into the presentation. I have been in the business now for 39 years. This July will be actually 40. So we've been helping families for many, many years. Last year, we helped 161 families move, and really something that I enjoy doing is helping, first-time home buyers and move-up buyers to help them with their dream properties. Tonight, we're going to be talking a little bit about, making the decision to buy. So what's important about renting comparing to buying is the first overview. I tell clients usually when they feel comfortable about, renting, it gives you the flexibility that you can move anytime. You don't have to, you can sign a one-year lease. Some places you can go, month to month. So you can move at any certain time that you'd like to. So you're not tied down to anything. The only challenge about that is there's no tax benefit. So if you want to get some write-off, you're not getting any. If you talk to your CPA, you'll find out that if your Uncle Sam is actually making part of your mortgage payments, and everyone's different depending on what their salary range is. But sometimes they'll be paying, the government will be paying, because you're writing off the interest payments that you're making, anywhere from 10 to 25%, sometimes even more. Another great thing about renting is you have less responsibilities. If there's something that breaks, like a faucet or a toilet, you can have those kind of issues that you don't have to you don't have to do. You just make a phone call and say, hey, I need my toilet fixed, or I need my sink fixed. A couple of other challenges is that you may be forced to relocate. If you're living in a nice condo or a house or something like that, the seller may decide to move back in. The seller may decide to sell the property. They may also have, some restrictions, like you can't have a cat there, or you can't have a dog there, or if you want to paint a certain room a certain colors, they're not going to allow that. So there are some, restrictions about what you can do on the property. On the buy side, it's a little bit harder to pick up and go. It's not like day trading. You can get into a piece of property, you can get out the next day. It takes a while to build up a little bit of equity in your property because you have closing costs that you're buying in and closing costs when you're selling. A nice thing about buying is you get some tax benefits. Like I said prior, Uncle Sam will be making part of your mortgage payment for you. And then, basically, down the road, you'll get more and more equity. And at some point in time, you'll have no more mortgage payment if you stay in the property long enough. So you only have to be paying on your taxes and in your insurance, and you won't have the monthly payment. Like when you're paying rent, you have that forever. You will have a few more responsibilities, though. You'll have to take care of your own leaky faucets and your own toilets and roofing or yard maintenance if you have a yard and things like that. It's important when when you're buying a property that you have some steady income. You should feel comfortable that you have income coming in every single month to make the mortgage payment. How is your job security? Are you going to be there for the next, 2-3 years? Do you feel very comfortable? We don't want you jumping in if you think, you may be subject to, a layoff or, things of that nature. It's important that you feel comfortable about, buying a property. This is a, long-term commitment, but it's got a lot of long-term benefits. Recently, the interest rates have been fantastic. Seven will talk about that a little bit shortly to you, what's going on in the market, but they've been going down. I think they're the lowest they've been in over 12 months. So it's a fantastic time to buy and lock in a low interest rate. And when you're getting a 30-year fixed mortgage or a 15-year fixed mortgage, that's a great thing because you're getting a lower rate. That's for the life of the loan. So it's a fantastic thing to, keep your payments down. The next thing we'll talk about is, you should be looking for things that are, priced reasonable within your budget. You should be able to, afford to pay, 2 to 2.5 times your annual salary. You can use the mortgage calculator to assist you, or you can also talk with Seven and he'll work with you to get you qualified so you know exactly what you can, what your payment payment should be. So he'll work with you on that. There's also a mortgage calculator in the app that you can work with. So the first thing to do is talk with Seven and get yourself pre-approved. And then from that, it's off to work to finding you a home. Basically, you should sit down and put like a little, I call it the Ben Franklin close for yourself. What are the what's your wish list? What are you looking for? Do you want to be, as I said, I had talked about prior, do you want to be walking to your local grocery store? Is that important to you? A lot of the people like, some of the millennials, we like to live in the downtown area. They like to be close to, where all the activity is at. Some people, in the high-rise condos or, things of that nature. And some people want to be out in the boonies or out a little ways and have a big piece of property and have a vegetable garden. And they don't mind, commuting into work, or, maybe a little, 5 or 10 minute drive to go to, a movie or buy some groceries or something like that. So basically, you need to set up a list, give your wants and desires of what's important to you. Would you rather have, be close in and be close to where the action is, or would you rather be out a little ways and maybe have a little bit of a property, have a room for, having a dog or, cats? I mean, if you're out in some of the Sun Valley and Shallow Hills there, you can even have chickens and horses out there. So you can have a wide variety of what kind of pets and animals do you want in your property. It's always important, I tell clients also, to drive around your potential neighborhood. Drive around there in the morning, drive around there at night, see what kind of activity is going on in there. If it's traveling a little ways to work, for commuters, I say it's also good just to get an idea what a commute would be like. So just you go out there early in the morning, and then if you would have to be at work at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock, whatever it is, you would go out there and pretend that you're commuting in to see what the commute would be. And then also for your return trip, same thing. Just, do the return trip so you feel comfortable, like this is what the traffic's going to be like in your evening commute and your morning commute. It's great to look online. Since the computers have come along, you can do a lot of your fingers can do the walking to find out exactly, what you're looking for locations. You can look online. It's a great place to look for properties. With Google Maps, a lot of the times you can check out what the streets look like, what the neighbors look like. The Google Maps is a fantastic app. You can put the property address in and do all your looking around. Another great program that the lender, the credit union, has hooked us up with is the Home Advantage program, which basically gives you a rebate of the commission, 20% of the commission that goes towards your closing costs. So you can, at the close of escrow, rather than putting the money into closing costs that comes out of your pocket, you can get the commission from the broker and it go into closing costs. So you can use the money yourself for basically, painting the house, buying new carpets, maybe a little bit of remodeling and things like that. The Home Advantage program is fantastic. It's a one-stop, shopping online. You get to access all the homes in the multiple listing. That's where all the brokers put the properties. It's called the multiple listing service. So you get alerts of these properties that meet your criteria. They come out on a, hourly basis, daily basis. So you get the houses as they're coming off fresh right away. So you can, talk to your, broker about looking at it right away. You could do drive-bys and look at it right away. It's a fantastic opportunity for you to look at properties instantly. As I said prior, there's also, you get a 20% rebate of your commission, and that goes towards closing costs, and you can use that right at close of escrow. It's a fantastic thing. You also get access to a bunch of fantastic agents, phenomenal, have been handpicked by the credit union to make sure that you're being taken care of with superior service. So you're going to get a great agent, and you're also going to get a great rebate for closing costs and look at the houses as they come live. How it works. It's simple. You just go online and you can register on the site. You get immediate access to the properties, and you can get immediate access to a broker, and also apply for a great loan with Seven. He's here to take phenomenal care of you. And of course, we said prior, you get 20% of the real estate agent's commission at close of escrow to use for closing costs. So then you can use your money rather than spending on closing costs for something else that's important to you as a house, maybe getting yourself a dog. So anyway, here's what you do to go and register online. So basically you go to the LAPFCU.org and you can hover over the loan button. And that's where you start working on the loans. And then from there, you can go to the real estate loans and also the Home Advantage program that we just talked about. And click on the button. And then we have the stress-free home buying like we talked about to start exploring and looking for great houses for you. Basically, it's just going to tell you that you're leaving the credit union website and you're basically going to the website, the CU, where all the properties are at. So you'll just click on the continue button and then you'll go to the website to start looking for homes. And this site is set up, you can see it's just basically for you, the LA Police Federal Credit Union, and then you basically click on the join for free. And then you'll just basically fill out a little bit of information yourself so you can set up the system so you can start getting homes. You'll put your name in, your email address, you'll set up the, your private password and your phone information, stuff like that. And then you can just scroll down to, basically, what are you thinking of doing? You're buying or selling? Do you have an agent? Because if you have an agent, then they won't have anyone reach out to you. And then basically, if you need an agent, we're here to take care of you. And then we've got it set up that you can start looking for the perfect home. And hit. So basically, you can search for a few different ways. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to look in a certain little zip code area. I'd like to be in the Lake Balboa area. I'd like to be out in Northridge. I'd like to be out wherever you'd like to be. Canoga Park, anywhere you want, you can put in the zip code and it'll populate the kind of homes you're looking for. There's also a way, what's called the advanced search, which you basically, after you put in the zip code, you can put in a certain price range. You're looking for something between 0 to 600,000 as an example. You can say you're looking for something from 400 to 600, however you'd like to do it. And then you put in here how many bedrooms and baths important to you. You'd like to have 3+ bedrooms, a couple bathrooms. You can also put in what kind of square footage you'd like. If you want a minimum of 1,000 square foot or 1,200 square foot, you could do that. And then you'll hit the search button. And then you can save the search. Then basically next it'll say, hey, would you like to select the view, the properties? So you will be able to list the views and look at them. If you don't have an agent, then you can find out an agent that works in this area that's going to take a great care of you. So you can click on that button and find out who's the approved agent that's going to work with you in the area. The area that the search was in Lake Balboa and Van Nuys area. So that, you go to that button and then you can pick what state and what cities, and you can select one city, you can select a lot of cities, depending on what areas you're looking for. And then, of course, you push the search button. So it's easy to pick an agent. You can self-serve through the online. You can also call the 800 number, push extension 1, and basically that'll talk to a live rep. You can also send an email in, service@mycuhomesadvantage.com. So I want to talk about a little bit about the process of buying a property. It's important when you're making an offer to ask your agent to provide you with comps. Comps are basically what's going on in the neighborhood. You'd like to get the most important thing that I tell clients is what's going on within the last 90 days. You can pull in the area. Basically, sometimes if it's a tract, you can pull in the tract. You can pull in a quarter-mile area, half-mile area, mile area. We can even do, by zip code. So it's important that you get the comps and the broker can reach out and explain how that works. And of course, we talked about before, you should get pre-approved with your mortgage before you shop. So when you submit your offer, you're a strong buyer with your pre-approved letter from 7. When making an offer, it's important to find out what's going on with the property. How long has it been in the market? Has it just come on the market? Has it been in the market for a week, a couple weeks, a month? If the property's been on the market a little bit longer, you can probably put in a little bit lower of an offer. If it's brand new on the market, you can also talk with your agent and see if you can get any information about the agent of what the expectation of the sellers is, to give you sort of an idea what's going on. If you come in a little bit low, or if they're looking for something that you're not quite what you're presenting, they'll always, 99.9% send you a counter offer. The only time sometimes you won't get a counter offer is if you're in multiple bid situation. We are getting multiple bids, but it's not the same that it was last July and August. There are a few times when there's multiple bids, but there's not, that's not as frequent. If it's multiple bids, sometimes they'll send out a little form to the buyers, and buyer's agents say, hey, it's multiple bid, give me your highest and best. And sometimes when you're in competitions, you'll get an opportunity to get a counter. Sometimes you will not. Depending on the seller and their comfort level, sometimes they're looking for something higher. Sometimes someone will say, okay, I'm going to want a little bit lower price, but I'm going to do all cash and no contingencies. The good news, as I said prior, is the market has cooled off a little bit since last July and August, so you've got a much better buying opportunity today than you did last year. Some of the questions you should ask yourself is, when you're buying the properties, how much do you love the house? And you can share that information, with your agent or your lender if you want, and that way, they'll work on seeing how they can help you get this property. And it's also important to talk with the lender and find out exactly how much you can afford so you feel comfortable with the payment that you're making. As I said, talk with your agent and also talk with your lender, and they can help you decide on, on the offer based on the comps and what's going on with the property in today's market. Once your house is in escrow, your offer is accepted, yay! Now it's a dash to the finish line. So once your offer is accepted, you will need to make a deposit into the escrow company within 3 business days. Usually that's how how it works is the escrow company will contact you and you will wire in your deposit into the escrow once the escrow is open. So once the escrow is open, you'll have your time frame of what it is. If your escrow is 30 days, 45 days, and then you'll work with 7 about getting the loan going and all the next wonderful stuff. You will get a copy of your escrow instructions. It's basically the duplicate of your offer with just a little bit more technical information. Your real estate agent can go over the escrow paperwork with you, or you can also talk with the escrow officer and ask them if they would explain it to you. Escrow is a neutral third party that coordinates with all the parties, which basically means they take all the all the paperwork. So basically, you put your paperwork in for buy, the seller puts in paperwork for the sell. We will work on getting. That's where we get clear title reports that come into the escrow to make sure that your property that you're buying basically has no liens on it. Everything will be paid off through escrow. You will get an estimated closing statement from the escrow company to give you an idea with all the costs from the escrow and all the costs from the loans, which you can also get from Seven, and he can share that with the escrow company so they can give you an estimated closing statement so that you know exactly how much funds you need to bring in to close it at the close of escrow. While you're in the process of purchasing the property, you will get a home appraisal. That's to make sure that the value is there on the property that you're paying for. 99.999, we hardly ever have issues with appraisals. The only time we really have a challenge with it is recently in a condominium complex. If you're selling something a similar square footage and it's a little bit more than the other one, like maybe this condo was 1,294 square foot and it was totally remodeled. It was in there and they put in, new kitchens, new bathrooms, all new flooring, new central heat and air. And then one that was a fixer that had no work done to in the last 40 years. sells for $20,000 less in the complex, the appraiser might say, well, you know, the work is worth $15,000 more. But usually, as I said, sometimes there's a little bit of difference on the condos, but only if if there's comps in there that have sold recently, that the appraiser is going to look at, because they have to look at all the comps in the complex. Houses, we don't usually have that kind of issue. It's very, 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 very important that you get an inspection on the house. You can pick your own inspector. You can ask your friends, family members. You can also ask the real estate agent. He can recommend someone that he's worked with and feels comfortable with and have done great inspections on the house. They will check the main components on the house. So they will check the air conditioning, the heating, the electrical, the plumbing. You can also get basically a special, inspection for the fireplace if you want to. You can get a camera down the sewer line, which could be very important. If there's like trees in the front yard, I always recommend getting a sewer line. They'll send a camera down and also, send you an online video of exactly what's going on with the sewer line, because that could be a costly expense. So property inspections are very, very important. It's important you're going to have insurance for your property. You can talk with someone that you have with your car insurance policy or a life insurance policy. You can talk with them. You can also get talk with Seven. He's got recommendations, and also the real estate agent. Right before the close of escrow, the docs will be drawn, which means once your loan has been approved, you will get the loan docs. Most of the time, they are signed as the escrow company. That's something that you can review with Seven, and he can explain to you how they're going to be, how you're going to work with signing the loan docs. Once we sign the loan docs, basically the loan will fund in the next, usually 24 to 48 hours. So the loan docs are usually signed 2 to 3 days prior to close of escrow. You will sign the loan docs. They'll go back to the lender, make sure everything's fine. They will fund the loan. Once the loan funds, basically they will record the deed the next day. Once they record the deed, you own the property and you'll get the keys. Sometimes the sellers will ask for maybe 2 or 3 days as a rent back to finish getting all their stuff out. That's a question that you can have for your real estate agent, but you'll get to move in, usually right at close of escrow or within 2 or 3 days. Definition of escrow, I talked about this briefly, but basically it's a third party that basically will hold the funds. You'll sign your buying papers, the seller will sign his selling papers, they will get the prelim title report, they order that, and that'll be sent to you. You can go over that with your agent. Also, Seven could also go over with you if you have any questions. They also will pay off any loans that the seller may have. If he has any liens, if he has the liens for, I don't know, maybe he pulled a loan to do what's called hero programs. They have loans that they put in new air conditioning or new windows, and there might be a lien on title. So basically, they will clear title so that you will get the property with your taxes will be current. There'll be no liens except for the new loan that we placed on the property at close of escrow. And they'll take all the funds that required for your down payment, your closing costs, and then the seller will get a check for net proceeds after they pay off all the liens and anything that they need to take care of.
Thank you, Brad. Brad will actually stay on the line and will be available at the conclusion of tonight's presentation. If you have, just in the event that you have any questions or concerns. Next up, we have LAPFCU's in-house mortgage loan officer. He has been in the mortgage business for over 15 years and is very well versed on analyzing the right mortgage products to meeting your home buying needs. He is Severiano, and I love to say his name. He is Severiano Rico, but to all of us who know him, as you have heard Brad reference throughout tonight's presentation, he is Seven. Seven, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Myra, and very good on the pronunciation, Severiano. Very nice, definitely. So live from LAPFCU Studios here in rainy Van Nuys. My name is Severiano Rico. Everyone calls me Seven. And like Maria said, I have over 15 years. Actually, I think it's more close to 18 years experience in the mortgage industry. working with big banks like Wells Fargo and private lenders like Prospect Mortgage. And I'm here today to give you some really good content. Thank you, Brad, for the really great information that you provided. Very good. So I want to get started here. And thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to look at the market overview here. So this is a question I get all the time. What's the market like? What's it going to be like? And what are interest rates? Where are they going to go? And so I was just speaking with a member today who said, now I know you're not a psychic, and I know you don't know everything, but what do you think about interest rates? Where are they going to go? Is it a good time to buy, or should I wait? So it's true, I don't know everything. And if I knew exactly where interest rates would be going, I wouldn't be here tonight. I'd be with Jeff Bezos having dinner. But having said that, we do know where interest rates are currently and where they were last year. And so just like Brad mentioned, we are in a position as far as interest rates where they're the lowest in over a year. And also, as he mentioned, the market, we don't have the multiple bids anymore. So if you are waiting for a time, or you've been waiting for the last couple of months, maybe a year, to pull the trigger on buying a house, you're definitely going to be getting more house for your money and better financing. So should you wait another 6 months to a year? I can't really tell you 100% that you should, but I can tell you that today you're in a much better position, not only with the market, but also with the financing. So that's really what I have to say about the interest rates. But even more important than the financial landscape, and even more important than, say, interest rates, it's really your financial situation. And that's what we want to talk about today. So we're going to be hitting topics like pre-qualification versus pre-approval, what's private mortgage insurance, the application checklist, and the LAPFCU advantage. So we'll get started here. And so we're going to look at the application checklist. This is a list of common items you will need during the process of the financing. This is also the list that we'll need if to submit that pre-approval. And we'll get into that a little more. But first, we're going to look at your income. And for that, generally, if you have a W-2 job, we'll need the last 2 years W-2, 1 month's worth of current pay stubs. And if you're retired, congratulations. And we will be looking at your stub for your retirement. And if you collect Social Security, we'll be looking at the award letter or any kind of verification of how much you're receiving in Social Security. We'll also be looking at the source of the down payment, and also be looking at any reserves. And for that, we look at the 2 months most recent bank statements, and also 2 months recent investment/retirement statements. So we have a lot of members, for example, that have 401ks or deferred comp, and they're going to be maybe drawing from that for the down payment, or you just want to show reserves. So we'll be looking at that, and we'll be looking at the assets for that. Next, so we have the income, we have the assets, but the liabilities. So we're going to be looking at any liabilities outside of what we can find in the credit report. For example, if you have child support or alimony, we'll be looking at if you're in that situation, maybe the divorce decree or any kind of evidence of any outside liabilities. Also, if you own property and you're collecting rents, we want to get a list of all the property that you own, and also the tax bill and insurance as well. And HOA, if it applies to you, if you own a condo, for example, or a townhouse, we want to look at that as well to consider the liabilities, any outside payments that you're making to get you qualified. So the next slide really is going to go into getting your credit in shape. So, a lot of us are really busy. We're working, especially our members. A lot of members being in law enforcement are out there on the streets and really don't have the time or to be looking at exactly where the credit is at. So talking with members, for example, I ask any idea of your credit score, and I'll get, well, it's pretty good, but what shape your credit is in is really important because that will determine a lot of things, right? It'll determine things like a closing cost, whether you actually will qualify for a first-time home buyer program, for example, that has a minimum credit score requirement. So it's important to, at very minimum, get a pre-qualification, if not a pre-approval, to see in which shape the credit is in currently. So with that being said, we can look at the pre-qualification. Now, I would advise a pre-qualification for maybe a member that's thinking about buying a house. Maybe just wants to, kind of dip their toe in the water there and just see, if what it would look like, what the payments would look like. Could I afford, a $600,000 house? So with a pre-qualification, what we do is a verbal application. We can do it over the phone, or you can come to Van Nuys. And what we'll do is we'll just take down some information verbally, like I said, and say, how many years have you been working where you work? How much do you make? We'll pull the credit report, and there's no verification performed. We won't need any documentation. We'll just be taking it verbally. That will be the pre-qualification. And what will happen is if, we come up with a scenario, and if you're pre-qualified for that scenario, we issue out a letter. And it says, congratulations, your pre-qualification application has been approved. And so if you get a good idea of what the payments are, the affordability, all that. But if you wanted to get a little more serious, and this is what really real estate agents are looking for, then we would be looking at a pre-approval. Now, a pre-approval, we'll take that initial application. We'll see where you are working, how much you're making, where the down payment's coming from, how much down payment. We're going to pull the credit report. But the difference with the pre-approval is that we'll actually verify. And we verify the income, for example, with pay stubs, W-2, or tax returns. And we'll verify the source of the down payment. And we'll also verify assets that we'll use for reserves. And like I said, a credit report is generated. So the pre-approval is really a more solid letter that will be generated should you be pre-approved. They'll say your pre-approval application is now approved. You could take this letter and make offers on houses. And you can have this letter, and your real estate agent would be making the offers, attaching this letter to show the seller they've been pre-approved. Once they see that pre-approval letter, they know that the credit union has not only taken down the information, but they verified that this member indeed is qualified to purchase this house. So it carries a little more weight than a pre-qualification. So again, just a difference. Pre-qualification would be more of, I just want to see what it would look like, want to see what I would qualify for. Pre-approval is you're ready, and within the next 3-4 months, we're ready to buy a house. That would be the pre-approval. Now, we mentioned a little bit about down payment. And so what I want to talk about and just kind of go over briefly would be private mortgage insurance. Now, private mortgage insurance generally is needed when the member comes in with less than 20%. Now, this is really industry standard. And the reason being is the financing or the loan is considered a little more risky when you put down less than 20%. So really what the private mortgage insurance is, it's a policy on the mortgage itself. So should the borrower default, a portion of the mortgage is covered by this insurance policy. Now, how much does this insurance cost? What's the monthly premium? It's just very similar to a car insurance, for example. What's the monthly rate? It depends on a lot of factors. For example, in the case of private mortgage insurance, how much down payment are you putting down? What's your credit score? What is your debt to income ratio? And that we're looking at how much monthly debt you're paying versus your monthly income. There's a lot of variety of factors that go into determining the monthly premium. So I would really suggest that if you're looking at putting less than 20% down, that we do talk, and then we can get an idea. I can get that pre-qualification started. We can pull the credit and get an idea of this monthly insurance premium. And so with that being said, there are a variety of types of loans that we have at LAPFCU. We have purchase loans. If you want to purchase your primary residence, a second home, vacation home, or an investment, we do offer these types of transactions. Also, we have both fixed rate mortgages, and that's really a rate that stays fixed over the life of the loan, as Brad mentioned. Usually, they have a higher interest rate. We also have adjustable rate mortgages, and these are mortgages that are fixed for a certain amount of time and then adjust every year thereafter or every 5 years thereafter, depending on the program. Again, if you're interested in knowing a little more specific regarding these programs, feel free to give me a call, and my information will be given at the end of the presentation. And so, what are the common loan programs? So we have conforming and high balance, jumbo and super jumbo. So really the difference between conforming, high balance, jumbo, super jumbo is really the amount, the loan amount. In LA County, anything above $726,525, anything above that is considered jumbo. Super jumbo, you're talking in excess of $1 million in financing. Conforming and high balance, you're looking at conforming being up to $484,350, and high balance being anything between that and $726,525. Now, what's important is to know, in your situation, where do you fit in? What's the financing looking like? Because it's important, because these different programs have different interest rates, different closing costs. So it's important to, have a consultation to see exactly where we will be fitting in. We at the credit union offer these programs here. We also offer home equity lines of credit and fixed rate seconds. We also do, through our credit union partner, offer government FHA, VA, and reverse mortgages. Again, if you want to go over pricing and the different loans, definitely get that consultation going. Now, we're going to be looking at some home buyer tips. So we want to get a pre-qualification letter, definitely, before we begin your search. Now this part, and I think I even said it in the last webinar, one of the mistakes maybe first-time home buyers make is going out there and falling in love with a house without having the financing or pre-qualification letter. And I hate to say this, but I really am something of a heartbreaker sometimes, and I hate doing it. But you have a member coming in and say, we just fell in love with this house, and we want to see if we can qualify for it. And so what we want to do is see exactly what it costs, not only your monthly payment for the financing, but what a lot of first-time home buyers overlook is the taxes and insurance. That could be hundreds of dollars on top of the loan. So before we go out there and start falling in love with these houses, we want to make sure to get a very minimum of pre-qualification letter before you begin your search. That way, I'm looking for properties from $500,000 on down or $600,000 on down. You know exactly, you narrow your scope, focus in more your scope, and look, where you feel financially comfortable. And so we want to make sure to keep our credit current, making sure that we're making our payments all on time, especially if we're considering buying a house. Any little dings or lates on the credit could, get us out of range of qualification, or if not that, could cost us more in closing costs. So we want to watch our spending patterns and avoid incurring new debt before applying for the loan. As when we're in the process, we're going to be looking at what you currently are paying for. So we're going to look at auto loans. We're going to look at personal loans and this new mortgage. So if you incur new debt during the process, we're going to have to use that and count that against you as well. And you have the possibility, again, of falling out of qualification. So please don't incur new debt. And once you completed a loan application for your new home, don't have anyone except your loan consultant run your credit, and beware of those free credit report websites. This one's important. You know, sometimes we want to just look for free and maybe not, you know, pay the $9.99 or the $13.95 and go out and look online. But we need to be careful. Not all websites are, you know, the same, and some, you know, could be just looking to get your personal information. But with the pre-qualification, we'll pull that credit. So definitely we want to avoid unnecessary pulls as well. If you have a lot of different credit pulls in a short amount of time, that could really lower your your credit score. So you want to advise your lender also if you have any credit transactions during the loan process. Again, going through that same, we want to make sure that there's nothing new pops out during the process, because then we'd have to count it against you again in qualifying. And so those are, you know, some home buyer tips. But let's talk about the LAPFCU advantage. Now, you can ask about our proprietary loan programs for purchase and refinance transactions. So we do have some in-house loan products, and I'll mention one. We have a loan product that will allow you to come in under 20% down payment without having that private mortgage insurance. Now, that is available, and you have to meet certain criteria. For example, having a credit score of, say, 700 or higher. And you're looking at also other things. We have credit limits, for example. We can't get $1 million loan with this. We have to be within a certain loan amount. But this program is available to our members, and it's an in-house program. So this isn't a program that you can just get at any bank. Definitely LAPFCU advantage. We provide hands-on service for the life of the loan. And I cannot stress this one even more, because for the life of the loan, your loan servicing is here in Van Nuys, in our headquarters here in Van Nuys. I have my members who have helped throughout the years here at LAPFCU literally walk into Van Nuys and say, I have a question regarding my mortgage, knowing that we can assist them here because loan servicing is here in Van Nuys, and that's for the life of the loan. You won't be told, call this 1-800 number out in India, and you'll have to deal with someone far removed in another country. For the life of the loan, you'll be dealing only with LAPFCU. And that's going to come in handy should you have a question regarding your mortgage statement, the loan itself, any taxes or insurance should you impound them. And so it's easy to apply for pre-qualification. On the slide, you see that it says you can apply online at lapfcu.org. It's true. But you can also call me, and we'll give you my phone number at the end of the presentation, my direct phone number. We could definitely have a nice conversation before submitting that application. But you could apply, like I said, at the website, lapfcu.org. We do have what's called a no-cost loan interest rate option. Now, what does that mean? That means that we can actually select a different interest rate, slightly higher, and give you a credit towards your closing cost. And we can control, on your end, the interest rate that you feel comfortable with, and see what type of rebate we can offer you to offset those closing costs. And we can also lock in the interest rate at any time. As soon as we are in the process of this home purchase and we're ready to get that appraisal going, we can lock in the interest rate. And that interest rate lock is good for 60 days. Normally, the transaction takes about 30 days. So you'll be safe having that 60-day you have that cushion with that interest rate that's locked. So those are just a couple of things with the LAPFCU Advantage. And so waiting and excited to hear any questions you should have. So at this point, I guess I'll turn it over to Myra.
Thank you, Seven. And like Brad, Seven will be available at the end of the webinar to answer questions and concerns. So before I open it up for questions, you have heard a lot about making the decision to buy. You've also heard from Seven regarding financing, and it might appear that you're all ready to go, you have your keys, and you're ready for your new home. But a lot of times we feel like something is still missing. And the reason why I talk about that is because what will you do in the event of a theft? What happens if there is a fire? So property insurance provides protection for most property-related casualties, things that we don't think about that happen. Again, theft, fire, and even some weather damage. It is designed to cover the cost of replacement, reconstruction, as well as any other peril. Documenting the contents of your home makes it a lot easier to identify in the event that the value of damaged items happens due to a catastrophic event. For more information on that, you can contact our partner, Maria Asensio, at 818-373-8384, or you can email her at CUSO, that's C as in cat, U, S as in Sam, O, at Bissons.com, which stands for Bickle-Myers Insurance. So that's at B as in boy, I, S as in Sam, I, N as in Nancy, S as in Sam.com. Maria, like Seven, is also located in the Van Nuys office and will be in attendance along with Brad Korb, who was our presenter from earlier, Seven, as well as a host of other partners at our upcoming Member Expo event. This is an event that is taking place in 2 weeks here on Saturday, April 6th, in the member parking lot located in Van Nuys. Feel free to stop by, talk to a specialist. As I stated, Brad will be there, Seven will be there, Maria will also be there. We have a couple of other vendors who I'll discuss as well, and you can feel free to grab a snack and talk to our other members that are there. We will have a member from Autoland. He's one of our partners. His name is Tim Ketchapaw. You also have Kuso Financial Investments, and those are our investment coordinators here. We have Chris Ellis, who is in the Academy location, so that's right across from Dodger Stadium. He also works out of the Los Angeles branch near LAX. And then we have Miles Lester, who is also based here in Van Nuys and also does assist with the Santa Clarita location. In addition, you have LAPFCU Insurance Services. That is Maria's information. Again, that's for the coverage for your home. If you need any additional insurance services, she also does service insurance for cars as well as life insurance policies. So she's all-inclusive there. You have Home Advantage, which Brad talked about. Brad will also be here on site, and Brad talked about Home Advantage and how you can search for a home within this presentation. And again, I stated that Seven will be there, which is our in-house mortgage loan officer. Shred and get rid of your shred and documents, and you can do that also on that same day here, Saturday, April 6th. You can get rid of your shred documents as well as e-waste, because along with the Member Expo, our shred and e-waste trucks will be available in Van Nuys, again on Saturday, April 6th, in the adjoining lot. And on Saturday, April 13th, we will also have the shred and e-waste bins available at our Los Angeles location near LAX. I do want to remind you, though, to keep in mind that the Member Expo, however, and that's the event where we will have a lot of our partners. So, for example, Brad, Maria, Seven, Autoland, and our investments will only be here for the Member Expo in Van Nuys on April 6th. But as Seven did discuss earlier, you are also welcome to contact him directly. And if you're looking for a home in the Valley area and you go on to Home Advantage, you can also find Brad Korb's information there as well. And Seven, I'll put up your slide in just a moment with your contact information too. Okay. Keep in mind, however, again, the expo is only here for one day. At this time, I will open it up for any questions. If you are typing a question, I do ask that you please click on the hand icon. This way it notifies me that you are in the process of submitting a question. I'll wait for your question to populate in the system before I move on. And let me see, I have, looks like a couple of questions are coming in. And so we'll answer as many questions as we can. And let's see what's few people are typing in some questions. I have one question here. If I want to sell my home, can I ask that it is for a price a little higher than the comps in my area to ensure I get the price I am looking for? Brad, I think that might be a question for you. Do you want to go ahead and answer that one?
Yes, it would be my pleasure. I mean, most of you can literally go on the market at any price point you would like. So it's not that you have to go on with the comps are. The comps are just showing what's going on in today's market. I do things a little bit differently. I actually will pay a professional stager to come out there and do a walkthrough and show you how do we make the house look beautiful so that you can get the most amount of money for spending the least amount of money. You don't have to do anything, but she might give you some ideas like, okay, well, maybe we'll plant some flowers in the front, or maybe you've got one wall that's got a green color, and it doesn't look really, doesn't really look real appealing. So she might just give you a couple of ideas of how do you make the house look more appealing for spending the least amount of money. As I said, she might give you a punch list of 10 things. You don't have to do anything, but you could do a few things if you want to. But literally, you can go on the market at any price. I mean, the value could be $700. You can say, I want to start at $895. So there's nothing stopping you from going on the market at any price you'd like.
Okay, thank you so much. Our next question is, how do these programs work if buying in another state? Seven, I'm going to go ahead and direct that one to you.
Definitely. So one thing that I should have mentioned in the presentation, and thank you for that question, is that we are licensed to do loans, mortgage loans, in all 50 states. And this is especially important to some of our members that are retiring, that are moving into, say, right now, top states right now are Arizona, Nevada, Idaho, Washington, are really the states that we're working in. So these programs are available in other states. Like I said, we are licensed to lend in all 50 states, and we have a network of vendors that we work with, whether it's appraisers, and we have a lot of experience right now, especially working with escrow companies and closing companies and attorneys out of state. So we have a very good, very seasoned team here that is working out of state as well, or with out of state transactions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Seven. Looks like the next one might be for you as well. How does a cosigner affect the process of applying for a home loan?
Very good question. So a cosigner, sometimes there's a temptation to bring in a cosigner because they might have, say, better credit. So how would that affect the application or the qualification process? So what I will tell you is, if the cosigner has a higher credit score than you, for example, the lender is going to use, or here at LAPFCU, we're going to use the middle score of the lower of the two applicants. So let me just break that down. So we have two applicants, and each applicant, we're going to pull the credit, and we're going to pull from all three bureaus. So each applicant is going to have 3 scores each. We're going to use the middle score of the lower of the applicant. So having a cosigner might not help in boosting the credit because we're going to use the lower anyway. But when is it advantageous to bring in a cosigner? It could be advantageous to bring in a cosigner because you could potentially have more income, right? And so that would help in qualifying. But also with that, we need to keep in mind that with the income also come the liability and the monthly debt. So it could be something of benefit, but primarily it will be in the income, not so much in the credit score. So that's a great question.
Okay. I'm going to take one more question, but I do want to stress to those of you, because we have quite a few questions that are coming through. I do have a list of all of your questions. I will be forwarding your questions to the person that can answer them. And I do have your email addresses with your registration, so they will be responding directly to you. Last question is, I'm currently looking to buy my father's house and using a VA loan. Is there someone who specializes in VA loans that I can email or call with some information and questions for them? Can we get a phone number to that individual, or is that something that we need to do after?
Okay, so give them my number, right? Definitely, and I want to speak to this person directly, because there are scenarios, especially if you're buying a house from a family member. There could be other options as well. So what I want to do is really explore the options on this individual example here. But yes, we do have people that we can forward on that specialize in VA. But especially when it comes to what's called non-arm's length transaction, which is, buying from people that are close to you, like family members, there could be other options to explore. So definitely want to talk to that individual.
Okay. Seven, can you go ahead and state your number for the entire group at this time?
Definitely. So my direct phone number is area code 818-779-3259. Again, that's my direct number, 818-779-3259.
Thank you. And again, this presentation has been recorded and will be provided as a link to everyone within the next 2 business days. So with that, you also will have this entire presentation as well. I want to just stress that we do have a new website. I know you saw a couple of links. The new website is new.lapfcu.org. Again, that's new.lapfcu.org. You can go there and also register for Home Advantage, apply for a mortgage and pre-qualification, check rates, as well as use our mortgage calculator. If you have any questions, you can also call us directly and we can route you to the correct individual at my 877-MY-LAPFCU. Again, that's my 877-MY-LAPFCU. I want to thank both of the presenters, both Brad and Seven, as well as all of you for your time. We will get answers to all of your questions. As I stated before, I do have a list of everything, but I want to make sure that we keep the webinar right at 8 o'clock as we promised, but we will get back to you. And if you have any questions, I'll definitely just go ahead and reach out to me as well. Once again, thank you for joining us. It was my pleasure being here with you. Until next time, please have a good night.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for attending.
Good night.